Hi guys, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and we are back in the greenhouse finally. We've had a week of trying to get it semi-repaired, or at least usable for now after the storms that I videoed for you last time. So I had needed to get in here. I had some more strawberries that I needed to get potted up. I potted some up out in the garden, which I showed you right before the snowstorms. And I wanted to get some more for another area in the garden, but because I can't plant out there, I'm going to show you how I go ahead and pot them up in these tall 4-inch containers. And then I'll just keep them here in the greenhouse. So we will get going on that right now. I'll point my camera down so you can see better what I'm doing, and then you'll have a better view rather than just seeing me. So let's get going on potting up our strawberries. So the first thing I am going to do is I am going to take them out of their packaging. It's the same box I showed you in my prior video on, these are the Eversweet strawberries from Tractor Supply. They had them DeGroot Platinum Performers, and they harvest all summer long, is why I wanted these particular ones. I do have the June bearing ones already out in my garden. I let them roam as ground cover quite a bit of time, and I get quite a few berries, and so do the robins. The robins come back every year in search of the berries because they know they're here. So let's get these out of here. They're wrapped with some rubber bands, so I will take those rubber bands off and separate them out and put them in. This is tepid water. It's not cold and it's not hot. Not even really warm. It's just lukewarmish. So I'm just putting them in there. Now it's been a few weeks since I planted the other ones. So let's see how good these are. How they do need to be hydrated. There's 10 in here. So I need to separate them out, let them soak. So we'll let them go ahead and soak, and I'm going to put on some gloves while I mess with the dirt. So there's a bit of dirt in my tub, which is part of my DIY dirt. I also have some that I had to purchase because my supplies are now buried of my DIY compost, etc., are buried under the snow. So this is an organic mix. I'll mix it with mine that I already had left over in here, and then we'll put them in pots. Now the roots on these have been pretty long, and pretty healthy, so I won't put very much in the bottom of each pot, just a little bit, because you're not supposed to bend, etc., the roots very much. I mean, they recommend not at all, but there's no way I'm getting them in this pot without either cutting them, the roots of these strawberry plants, or letting them bend a little bit. It won't hurt them. I've done this before, so it's not the end of the world if they are bent a little bit. If plants will survive my hairy-carry type gardening process, they're pretty tough. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, there's 3 stacked there, 4, 5. And these were all pre-washed and sterilized before I restacked them in here last fall. So they're just nice and clean. Nice and clean. I'll just leave these ones in here. Okay, so there we have it. See what I've got in here as far as plants. Let me see. Now when you put them in the pot, you don't want to bury it past the crown, which is where the roots and the plant meet. So you want that crown to be above the soil. So, oh, let me see the crown. Let me see. Hopefully my hand was probably in the way, but so right there. So I'm going to, you see how this is going to bend because you see how these are longer than the pot. Like I said, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to put that in there and get my scooper. I could just use one of these and scoop soil into the pot. I like doing it over this container, that way it's not getting everywhere. Everywhere, all over the table. And I'll just firm it in there. And it might sink below the crown when I water it, but that's okay, I can top it up. And I just don't want too much in there. So I'll set that aside. Probably should have a tray ready to put these, set these in so they'll all be together, and find a spot on one of my shelves to put these in. But basically I'm going to repeat that 10 times. This one's kind of a bit smaller. The roots are all tangled, but you can still see there's where the plant's starting to grow. And there's a crown in there where it meets. In fact, the crown feels like it has a little bit of a crust on it, so I don't know how other to explain it, but it's a piece that feels a little crustier than the roots, so you'll be able to differentiate. So there we go. So I'm just going to do this, like I said, 10 times. Some of them are quite a bit smaller than others, and they're all starting to grow. It's probably because they were in a warm store, very warm store. Whoops. Just dumped it out after I put it in there. Thought I'd get a little closer for you so you could see what I'm doing just a little bit better. Now the reason I try to wear gloves is not because I don't like the feel of the dirt, it's because I've got to do a painting tutorial later and it does keep my nails a bit cleaner. It's kind of hard until I have to go in and really scrub my nails if I get them too dirty, too much dirt under them. So there's another one. This one doesn't have any new growth that I see. That doesn't mean much. Oh yes, I do. I see a little tiny one. So here I'm going to put it in here. Keep my hand out of your view. I'm going to hold it up and then just fill. Then I'll push it in a little. Make sure it's firmly setting in there. And then later, once they're all in their tray, I will water them in and top them up. However much that may be. And then another one that's shorter. I only have 4 done, or 5, okay. The beauty of buying bare root is you get so many more for your money. And it's not hard to pot them up or to plant them out on the ground. So I just can't plant them in the ground right now because of the snow on the ground. So if you find them in the store and you can't plant them in the ground yet, then don't be afraid to buy them and pot them up ahead of time. And then put them out in the garden when the weather permits, weather and condition permits. Oh, that one's kind of tangled up in there. So, and a lot of times you won't find certain varieties that are already potted up in the big box stores and nurseries. You'll only find them, you can order them bare root or at a nursery bare root. Eversweet has been one on my to-do or to-get list that I've wanted. So when I found them at Tractor Supply bare root, I was thrilled because I was going to have to order them online. And they're much cheaper to find in a store than ordering them online just because you don't have to pay for the shipping. Now, I've tried one that I really heard was delicious and sweet, and it was called Charlotte, and I ordered some. I potted them up. They did fantastic. And then when I put them out in the garden, they just died. They all just died. I don't know what I did wrong. So maybe I put them out too late. I don't know. Sometimes you just have those failures. Maybe it was a variety that didn't like it here. I don't know. So here the containers are. This is the other side of my greenhouse from where we were, where I potted these up. And I put that water into my little watering can. Now, it may plug up because there was some debris in it and I'll have to clean it out, but it helps me to control the water pouring on them. And I'll just water them in. And then I will put a little more soil in here. And then I will probably top dress them with some horticultural sand. Just because it keeps it cleaner, and when they start budding out, then they won't get splashes of soil on them, which can cause fungus, etc. So I've watered them in. Let me take a good close look. And you know what? Quite a few of them. In fact, it looks like most of them are pretty much right at the crown level. So they're good. Oh, I did good. Now I'm going to get my horticultural sand. Let me see. That one's not open yet. Oh, here's one. And I'm just going to top it up. I like this EB Stone horticultural sand. It just is very clean and a nice sand to top up things with. Like I said, it also acts as, you know, a water retention element, like a good mulch, without it causing it to retain too much moisture. Can discourage fungus gnats from entering from the top, though I'm sure there are fungus gnats in this soil because good potting soil that's organic, a lot of it has it, just because the moisture, etc., it contains is perfect for them. But so you can see, these are good. I was going to say I have a whole blog post and a video of how to control fungus gnats. And in it, you know, you can use BT, the mosquito bits, and that will help if it's in the soil to kill the larvae. But, you know, for the most of the time, I just use these yellow sticky traps. Here, let me reach over here. I've got one out here. See, I just cut this. It comes in the package in these big papers, the one I buy. And then I just cut it in strips, peel off one side, and then I just lay it up against here. And if it gets, I didn't show you how I get it on there. I just lay it on it like that. And fungus gnats, when they start coming up, then they just land on it and it catches them and it reduces the population. I will never be rid of them because they're out in my compost and they're out in my leaf mold mixture that I use for seedlings, etc. And these just cut down the population where they don't do the damage they could do. It's when they get overpopulated. It's just nature taking its course. It's part of organic gardening. Like I said, I could use the mosquito bits to kill the larvae, but I like to use as little chemicals, even the ones that are safe, in the garden. So these work great for keeping the population down and keep them from totally, destroying my plants. And as long as I use these, I've not had any plants be utterly destroyed. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video on potting up strawberries before you can get them out in the ground. These are bare root strawberries. And I will share progress on them as they get bigger. And even when I put them out in the garden. And let's hope these ones live, unlike my last ones. All right, I'll see you next time.